Right, hello. So I believe one of the big questions remaining in the room is, who is Bea Dominguez? Well, today I'm going to let the cat out of the sack. Right, let's start with answering the question, who am I right now? It's 2020 and here I am. I'm running my YouTube learning courses for you women on their journey of self-discovery. A year from today, 6 months from today, and even less than that, I wouldn't have done what I do now because now I feel comfortable. I feel I have broken through my last limiting beliefs I had, and I'm now manifesting them into my life. I'm now mastering them and really becoming this woman that I always dreamt of being. Other than that, well, as you probably also know, I am a certified life coach by the Coaching Academy in London, and I'm also NLP trained. And other than that, I am a mom to a wonderful 2-year-old little boy. I live now in Galicia, Spain, which is where originally my family roots are, where my family comes from. I myself was born in Germany, so if all this time you have wondered about the accent I have, it should be a German accent sounding to you. I moved to the States when I was 18 years old. No, sorry, when I was 21 years old. I lived there for a few years, and I moved then to London, where I lived for another 11 years, I believe it was. And 5 years ago, I packed my little bag and I wanted to try something new out. I wanted to really take, that was part of my journey of self-healing and self-discovery. I wanted to go to this part of the world where my family was from, where I never had lived, and really settle back a little bit. You know, London was very stressful. It was a big city. It was great being there with all its goods and all its bads. But coming to Galicia, this part of Spain, where it's very green, it's very relaxing, it's just wonderful to be here. 20 minutes from the ocean, and it just fitted more with my personality and what I was looking for 5 years ago in my life. Well, this takes us to the question then, who was I before? Which takes us to 2014, more or less, when I started my journey of self-discovery and self-healing. And the reason why I started doing it was because I hit really rock bottom. Before that, a few years before that, I would have started with some self-help, but I would always crawl back into feeling depressed, really, what and feeling low self-worth. But in 2014, my relationship with my then partner came to an end. It had been a relationship of 10, 11 years, and it wasn't the happiest of relationships that I would like to say it was. It was actually a toxic relationship, which simply meant that two people were living together, feeding off each other's wrong energies. You know, it wasn't going well. It was nobody's fault, really. I can see that today. But if anything, you know, it was my responsibility of having stayed for so long in that relationship, which really led to a deep depression in my life, and really losing myself in all of this. Throughout those years in that relationship, I really had lost who I was. I lost the feeling of really fighting for myself and fighting for what I wanted, and really feeling feeling that excitement. And I did all my education in back in London. I did my bachelor's degree. I did my master's degree. I also had a great career. So it's really odd. Whilst on paper it all looked good, and it was fine. It was absolutely amazing. And I'm surprised I achieved all those things with what was really going on mentally. But deep inside, that little light that we have, all of us, that little flame that we have inside us, was really really tiny. It wasn't really able to grow and warm the rest of me, and I certainly wasn't able to enjoy anything else than, more the formal things, the education and my job. I was completely lost. I didn't have any hobbies. I hardly had any friends, and all I did was actually just work or study or feed into the other person's need. So year after year, and in a toxic relationship, it's not really happy, happy all the time. So I would just hide away from reality. Really, it felt like, when it came to an end, it felt like I woke up one day. It felt like I woke up from a bad dream, and now I was sitting in reality all of a sudden, all alone, really scared of what was going to happen next. Although the relationship wasn't working for me, being alone at first seemed to be even worse. So and that's when I hit rock bottom. I was sitting there as an adult. I was about 35 years old, thinking to myself, what do I do now? I've lost what I thought was the love of my life, versus on the other hand, I knew he was the wrong person to be with. I have lost myself all along, and I had these huge limiting beliefs about me that I had put upon myself, that I had thought to be true, since I was a child. My biggest stories that I was telling myself were that I am not worth it, I am not important, and sometimes even I'm a burden, and definitely also I am not intelligent. And the role I played was, I wanted to be invisible. I wanted to be invisible in my relationship, and I wanted to be invisible when I went out there, other than when it was in my job. That was something. I worked in a charity, which was really and that's where I also started coaching. There's really something where that's the only thing I had in my life, actually, where I felt deeply connected to what I wanted to do and who I thought I was. Other than that, I was this empty body that was walking around. I had lost interest in doing any sports. I wasn't doing any meditation, no yoga, which is something that's actually really important to me. I was waking up every morning. There was no meaning to my life, and I was feeling really disempowered and really sad, because on one hand I could see myself slipping away. I could see how life was happening around me. I could see myself sitting on the spectator seat rather than on the player seat, whilst I had actually the strong sense of what I'm able of doing, what I wanted to do, what I'm capable of doing. So I had this huge contrast between the life I was living and the life I wanted to live. So it was until 2014, when I was sitting in my new flat all by myself. It was just such a horrible feeling to be there at age 35, when you thought, your life was all planned out, and not knowing what to do next. And I was really questioning myself, to what am I going to do next. There were times in my life, not so much when it came to an end, but during the relationship, where there were times in my life where I thought was life, was living worth it. It was really bad. So back to my living room, when I was sitting there, I was like, what am I gonna do, Bea? What am I gonna do? You have wasted so many years with this person. You have wasted yourself. You know, I knew I was brilliant. I knew I was such a lovely person. I knew I had so much love to give, and all that love that I gave to the wrong person. And that's when I started to wake up, thinking, wait a minute, what if I start, what if I start with myself? If I'm the one that is really suffering at the moment, if I'm the one that got lost in all these years, if I don't know who I really am, yet I feel so powerful about myself, I have this inner yearning, this flame that was just always there. How about I just go and find out who I am? How about that? Right, which takes us to my journey, right? To my transformation from that living room back in London 6 years ago to my office here today in Galicia. It was a 6 year transformation. It was a very difficult time for me. It was very wonderful at the same time because I was really discovering myself. I was rediscovering my smile. But it was really difficult because I didn't know what I was looking for, right? With the lack of self-worth that I had and the lack of feeling self-important, it was really a slow process that I went on. So I started with self-helping books, and it wasn't until I did some amazing exercises where I really started, where the wheels really started to turn, and I shared some of these exercises, which is one of the most powerful ones that I can remember, is the thing where you start shifting your mindset from what you don't want into what you want. So in one top thing I had, my top three were, what I didn't want was a broken heart, and I turned that into what I wanted, which was a healed heart. The second thing was, I didn't want all this financial insecurities, all these debts I had and all these bad negative connections with the ex. So what I wanted was my own bank account and clear and sort, my finances out. I had a great job. I was making good money. I just never, got to spend any of that money. So all of a sudden, this independence, this ability of being independent was actually one of the things that really boosted my confidence. And the third thing was, I didn't want to feel lonely anymore. And I thought, well, what does that really mean? I didn't want to be lonely. So what I wanted was to be with my friends again and socialize. And so what the next thing you do, once you write down what it is that you want, you write down, well, what does it mean and what do you have to do? So for a healed heart, well, I had to go on a journey of self-healing, which I will tell you about now a little bit more. For the second one, I sorted out my bank account. And the third one, well, I called up my friends and said, I'm not going to be the happy person, but I'm willing to get out of the house and go for a walk and really take my journey step by step, day by day. And I had one of the most amazing friends in London that I say hello from right now if they're watching, and that I love you very much. But the self-healing journey I started doing on my own. I read books, I did exercises, I did journaling. Journaling was such a huge part of my self-healing, and there is a video about that as well, about my 5 strategies that helped me to become the person I am today, and they're absolutely true and they're brilliant. But what I then did, I really had to break through some of the limiting beliefs I had, because I felt now, this is months later, even years later, I felt very powerful, very, very energetic. But then when it came to really stepping out of my comfort zone, I immediately had this, I am not worth it, I'm invisible, I'm not important, I'm not intelligent enough. So it's really, if you live with these sort of limiting beliefs, it's really difficult to have conversations with others to start with. It's really uncomfortable to be in a small talk with other people. It's really difficult to stand in front of a group and explain, your strategies or your point of view, or it's just very self-isolating. And whilst I had this drive to really step forward, and I had this blockage, I knew I had to resolve this blockage. So I then went on to one of the best coaching programs, I believe, where I really broke through some of the first barriers, this invisibility, this not feeling intelligent. I worked through that, but that was with the help of a coach. I couldn't have done it on my own, and some of you may, but I really want to take this opportunity to really also speak about this, because who you see today is certainly not who I was even a year ago. And I say a year ago because just a year ago, coming up a year ago, I did this absolutely brilliant empowerment course with Claire Summit, which that was the one that gave me the last key I needed on my journey, which was about understanding my self-worth. It was really making these deep connections with my inner feminine power, which was something that nobody had taught me in all these last years, and certainly I didn't even know existed, to be honest. So it wasn't until a year ago that I finally broke through that those last barriers. So from sitting in my living room all by myself to sitting in this lovely house, there were a lot of emotions and a lot of limiting beliefs that I had to break through, and a lot of taking responsibility for my life. That was another big thing. I remember laying in my bed, and I remember thinking about feeling really sorry about myself and the blame game, really blaming the other person for your unhappiness. And yes, he wasn't the nicest person to me, but he can be whoever he wants to be, and he is whoever he is. And I really want you to take this one away, because what's really important, and the point that I had been missing in all these years was, who am I in this? What's my responsibility in this relationship? If I'm unhappy, and I truly was, and he also knew that I was unhappy, it was my responsibility to leave the relationship, which I didn't. And it's easy to say it afterwards. I get that. I get that very much. But it's nevertheless really important to point it out. The blame game has no value whatsoever. What you got to do if you want to really break through, if you really want to have a breakthrough in your transformation, this is probably the most important thing, is you got to take responsibility for everything you do in your life, everything, despite of what happens in your life. Despite, I have another video out on that on YouTube as well, and those videos are out there because they are some of my key learning points in my transformation. You have to take responsibility to despite what happened to you. If you want transformation, if you want to become the person you think you can be or you want to be, then you got to get in the driver's seat. There's just no way around it. And there's no way around it that this won't be uncomfortable. This will be very uncomfortable in the beginning. This will be very hard in the beginning, only because you don't know. It feels strange, it feels new. And also because we always try to look good, try to look good in front of others. There's this whole shame game in there as well. So the pot, this huge pot is really nasty. It really stinks. and I was drinking of that pot for so many years until I took the responsibility and said, I don't want to be drinking that anymore. I want to drink clear water. I want a clear guide that can tell me how I can break through some of my limiting beliefs, and then I want to take responsibility, and I'm willing to be vulnerable. It's another big one. I'm willing to be vulnerable, because in vulnerability, I learned, is where growth is. There's nothing else there than growth, actually. You may fall down, and And that's really it. There is not people looking at you, laughing at you, or telling you, I told you so. And I get it. There's always one, that's breaking always the rule of what I'm saying. But, really, because of a person telling you, I told you so, or a person telling you, what if you fall? Well, the real question is like, what if I fly? So what if I fall? All I have to do is get up again. Nothing more happens. This is really insane that we keep ourselves back because we think, something bad is going to happen. We think we are going to look bad, or we are going to we're going to get hurt. So what if you get hurt? You get up and you keep going. It's all a learning, isn't it? But in vulnerability and in falling down is the learning, is the experiences. And with time, you actually get to find out that you're much more comfortable, which is what I said in the beginning, much more comfortable in the stretch zone. I'm more comfortable outside of the comfort zone. And yes, I have to say it, there is a video out on that as well. So it's all covered, what I'm telling you today of my journey. I don't know if I said it all that there was to say, and if you can connect to what I'm saying. But if there's a last message I want to share with my journey, it is really that it only takes the first step. It only takes the first step to be brave enough to put the flag down and claim yourself and permit yourself and allow yourself to find yourself. It's the greatest thing you will ever do in your life. So that takes me, I don't know what it takes me. I talked about the now, I talked about the past. I guess I can talk about the future. The future is that I'm standing here. I have big plans. I have big dreams about growing the school of personal transformation. I want to reach as many people as I can, but my biggest dream is really to be always real to myself, and not to be afraid to dream big. So that's really it about me. I don't know if there's anything I could have said. I hope this answers some of your questions. I certainly will answer any questions you have. Put them in the comments. Do give me a like, subscribe to the channel. You will be updated with these fabulous top tips that I upload and that I keep cross-referencing, and that you will get to know yourself what the things are that you need to do if self-discovery and self-healing is on your agenda. And if you are one of these wonderful women that is on her journey already and wants some more guidance of myself and wants to meet other wonderful women, then join us in my Facebook group. The link is in the description below. And until then, I'll speak to you again next Thursday. Mwah! Much love.